Well, that was pretty much my reaction to this news. But hey everybody, welcome back to another LEGO related video. One that I really didn't want to make, but I feel like I need to because I have to talk about this news. Because overall, it affects the idea of future LEGO games coming from TT Games, aka Traveler's Tales. Because recently they did put out an announcement on Twitter and also on a couple other social media platforms saying that potential Marvel LEGO game projects have been shelved and you most likely won't be seeing them anytime soon. Which honestly sucks for a plethora of reasons, but also it is something that really sucks because Traveler's Tales is now owned by Warner Brothers, and now they are going to be forced to work on more Warner Brothers related IPs. So Traveler's Tales is no longer going to be able to work with Disney that owns Marvel to do a LEGO Marvel Superheroes, or even something for Pirates of the Caribbean or other franchises. To be honest, this kind of sucks for a plethora of reasons. Not only does it back TT in a corner, making it to where they can only work on stuff owned by Warner Brothers, and with how that reads off, that kind of sucks because that puts them in the same boat as how Monolith was when they were making Wonder Woman and that got canceled, and WB decided, oh, we'll just shut down your studio and the engine that you made, the Nemesis engine of Shadow of Mordor, which we don't even use, we're just going to take that with us as well. And overall, I don't want that for Traveler's Tales because honestly, Warner Brothers sucks. I'm sorry. They do. They have screwed up their game division, and they overall buried a lot of studios like Rocksteady that made the classic Arkham series with games that were just terrible like Suicide Squad and overall, Gotham Knights and a couple other things, and with them having a very few successes because of studios that really knew what they were doing, like Portkey Games and the people that made Hogwarts Legacy, which did give that game a sequel, and with the success of LEGO Batman Legends of the Dark Knight doing well and selling well, that gave WB more than likely the idea, well, let's just buy up these studios and preserve our golden gooses, since those are the only things that have done well. No, 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 no. Overall, I don't trust Warner Brothers owning TT, and this decision just kind of proves that because they don't want to work with other companies, and when they control TT Games, we're limited in what we will actually be getting, and that kind of sucks because I like the variety of LEGO games that we've had in the past. Sure, Warner Brothers does own a lot of different IPs, and there are a lot of different games that they could do, but at the same time, they're very greedy, and they don't want to work with other companies, confirmed by the fact that TT can't do much with LEGO Marvel because that's licensed and owned by Disney. And the fact is, Warner Brothers is not very trustworthy with its own licensing, considering the fact that LEGO Lord of the Rings, its digital license expired and was never renewed on older consoles. And honestly, I really don't even trust the fact that now that they are owned by Warner Brothers, the extended license for other properties that they have done in the past when it comes to other LEGO licensed stuff, even older stuff with Marvel, will probably start to disappear as well. And that alone is a very worrying thought. Not only are they controlled by the monopoly that is Warner Brothers, only making games that WB lets them make, and that overall is a problem in my eyes, because keeping licensed IP games is already difficult as it is, especially with what's going on with the disc wars and a plethora of other things. I will say the future of LEGO Marvel Superheroes isn't in a very bright spot right now. I will say it isn't all doom and gloom. I've been a bit doom and gloom throughout this video, but I will say there is some positives at the end of the road, considering the fact that TT Games did say that LEGO Marvel is shelved but not canceled. So there is a future for that particular side of things at some point until they say otherwise. So I will say, looking at the bright side of things, it does confirm that they do have plans and some ideas for more LEGO Marvel projects, just they're not going to be able to do them right now with how things are. But I will say, when it comes to the idea of WB, despite me kind of talking a bit of crap about them, and I still stand by every word, I will say the future of LEGO actually doing franchises based on what WB owns is a very interesting idea when you look at what they do own. Plus, doing a bit of digging and research to figure out what they could do, the idea of doing more games like Lego Batman Legends of the Dark Knight is a very interesting idea because I really love that game, but doing one for other superheroes like Superman, Green Lantern, and so on, overall is a very genius idea and concept when you really think about it, because it can also prop up certain elements of the DC universe into their own solo games. Would be a very interesting idea, because I love the Lego Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, and to be honest, every Batman game does well, but we've never really seen other solo superhero games for other DC characters. While we have seen them in crossovers with Batman, even in the Lego games, we haven't really had any games for them. Most of them have always been canceled because they weren't going to do well and other stuff. And considering the fact that these characters are beloved and we do know that they can do well in video game form, and we've seen them in Lego before, and unlike a mainstream Arkham-style game for a DC character, Lego can take a lot of liberties and be a lot more creative than that, and also it has the potential to cater to both audiences of adults and children. And with a character like, for instance, Lego Green Lantern or Lego Superman, mind you, those things would do incredibly well because you can do something like you did with Lego Batman for these characters. And with Superman in particular, you can actually do something very similar to Lego Batman, focusing on the legacy of this character when it comes to his movies, TV shows, and other theatrical appearances. Also, considering the fact that WB also can do a Lego Harry Potter saga Wizarding World style game as well, with not only all of the books but also the Fantastic Beast films wrapped into that, that would be a very interesting thing that they can do as well. While I don't think that they would do it at the same time as the Hogwarts Legacy sequel, I do think it is a plausible route that they can go. Not only that, but they also own Cartoon Network, so getting a Lego Ben 10 game finally, or something focused around Cartoon Network characters, or a couple other things like a Lego Lord of the Rings saga / complete edition style of game, where this time you can have all three of the Hobbit movies along with the Lord of the Rings trilogy as well, built from the ground up and remade, taking the original founding elements and making them even better. So I can't completely say that the idea of Warner Brothers owning TT Games and making them focus on some of their properties is a complete bad thing, but at the same time, it does shine a bad light on the idea of other franchises that TT can do no longer being accessible or available to do, like Lego Marvel, Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, and so on. So if I'm being honest, the idea of certain elements of the future of TT Games are bright, while others are cast in shadow, in my own personal opinion. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, whether you agree or disagree. Make sure to like this video if you did enjoy, or change it to a dislike if you didn't. It's perfectly fine. And also make sure to subscribe to this channel if you are new, and hit the bell notification button to be notified whether I upload, whether it's Lego content, DC content, or any other game related content under the sun. Check out some of the other videos on screen. Have a good rest of your guys' and gals' morning, afternoon, or whatever it is for you in the world. Peace out. Bye-bye.